Today is a fantastic day. It's like 70 degrees out, it's the 9th of March. But yeah, I opened up the garage to kind of let some fresh air in this new carpet and all the stuff I've been doing in here. The whole garage smelled like a new car. And this has settled a little bit overnight, but it still needs to settle some more. I might get the steamer out in the next day or two, but I'm going to just leave this for now. It can just sit there and settle. It'll be 4 or 5 days before, maybe even a little over a week before I'm ready to bolt the seat in. I got to reupholster it yet. But I'm going to start on these panels now. And a couple other things too. I've been replacing all the grommets in the whole car. These holes on each side, originally when I took the car apart, had like a black tape stuck to them. So I put some Gorilla tape on them, both sides, just the same way it was done. You could still see the imprint of the original tape even. So I tried to make those the same length and everything and put them in the same space. These grommets here, that hole is 3 inches by 1 3/8 wide. You think I can find one for that hole over there? So that may get this treatment too, but I'm still searching. May find one, but a lot of the ones I find, they're not the 3 by 1 3/8. And might see if I can find a part number on that grommet and put that in my search. See if I can find one. But anyway, I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to put the back seat back. Just hook it. I'm not going to bolt it or anything. I've been trying to figure out the wiring for the rear speaker so the fader and everything works. And a harness, the correct harness, I found one, and the guy wanted $499 for it. Well, he's living in La La Land if he thinks he's going to get almost $500 for a 6-inch piece of wire with 3 connectors on it. Yeah, that's for certainly not going to happen. But I actually got a picture of it, and I was trying to find just connectors. I can make up my own harness, but to find that plug, that 4-prong plug that I need, has proved to be impossible too. So we'll try and come up with something and get that so I can wire it up. I'll show you. I got the wiring diagram for the FM, AM, FM with the rear speaker, because that knob closest to the dash from the tuner is the fader, front and rear speaker fader. And in order for that to work, it has to be wired correctly. This is the Ford wiring diagram for the radio. It's actually all the schematics for the whole radio. I found these online and printed them out, but you can kind of see that plug connector there is the one I can't find. It's 1 female, 3 males, and the front speaker and the rear speaker. And so you can see how they just plug into these connectors. It plugs into the opposite end of that. But if you look at the way it's wired, this wire from the female, which would be I think that's the lone male on the radio, comes out straight out and goes to the rear speaker. This wire, which would be the one next to it, comes over, and that loop shows it's not connected, but it is connected where that dot is to this wire, which goes to the front speaker. And then this wire here that goes to the front speaker also is connected to the rear speaker to the other side. I think that's such so the fader control works. So what I got to do is, when I make a connector, it's got to be joined in with these 2 wires. These 2 wires continue on to the front speaker, but these wires are spliced in with it. And then these connectors. I have these style connectors. It's this one I can't find. So I might just make something up, or somehow, solder some bullet connectors on the end of the wires and just plug them in and see if that works. But that's how the proper way the rear speaker is supposed to be wired, so the fader control works. So following the wiring diagram, I got the front speaker, rear speaker. Now remember, there's no antenna. That's both speakers, and they're both clearly playing. So what I got to do is I got to get some connectors here. Just kind of cobbled it, but you can see this connector, and so that's the wiring from the dash speaker. That's the wiring that comes from the rear speaker, this wiring. And then I just did exactly what the wiring diagram showed, and it works perfectly. So I can order those double connectors like that. So I'm gonna order a couple pairs of them, and I can make the harness up, and I'll see if I can search. I need 3 males and a female on that type of plug, so I'm gonna try and hunt something up like that, and then I can get this thing wired up properly. But I just wanted to make sure it worked and that was the correct way, and it totally is. Yeah, it always pays to have your wiring diagrams, and as I showed you, this, I don't know if the camera focuses or not, you know, this is a little tiny screen on my GoPro, but that's wired identical to the way that. So anyway, there we go. It is the front and rear seat speaker. Both work as they should. Hopefully I don't get a copyright. Just put it on a classical station, so hopefully I won't, but we'll see. So after I get this out of my way, these are what I'm going to work on next, and I'll go over how I'm going to do these. I've done like Cold War Motors has done in the past and had to replace this on door panels and reuse this, but I've never done reproduction ones. And I know how to get these separated. You usually destroy this, separating this from this. And then you kind of press these back on over these. They're like spikes, and you got to make sure they're all straight, you know, when you go to, so they push through into this board stuff. And see how it has a hole there and a hole there? That's so you can screw this to this to keep it, you know, from being cocked while you're pushing these on. It's important because if this isn't on this square, then your panel will be all cockeyed, and I don't want that. This material is folded around. You can see the hooks. I call this stuff cat whisker. I don't know what it's like a felt, but I just call it cat whisker. That's what I've always called it. So I got to straighten out these to get the cat whisker off, and then I can peel the vinyl that's pulled around off to get it off this, and then I can pry this off here. I'll show when I get to it if I can, if it's not like too inconvenient to set the camera up to do it. And then I'll clean these up. I'm not going to paint this side. I might this side, we'll see. But I'm going to have to, I got new cat whiskers. You know, I replaced all the rubbers on the doors. All this is new. That came in that same box, and that same box came with all the cat whisker. But I'm under the understanding too that not the reproductions holes don't line up generally with the factory, so you got to kind of, you know, remark your holes and re-drill them. I'll show you how you do that so you don't tear vinyl. You just basically run the drill in reverse to cut through your vinyl. So if you run it forward, you're just going to twist this up the drill bit and pull it and tear your vinyl, and you definitely don't want to do that because you're going to have to go through there a little tiny drill bit for these metal wires that hold this cat whisker. And I've replaced these cat whiskers on door panels many a cars, so I'm kind of familiar with how to do them. But like I say, I've never used reproduction side panels, and these are padded, so I don't know if I need to get some padding for that metal or if the door panel fabric has padding on it. See how it's got padding right there? So if it has padding, I'll be on hold until I can get some. You know, I'll have to run to the foam palace or whatever it's called to get some of that if I need it to put on this, because I don't want it to look like a joint here. You know, I want it to look uniform like it does right now. It may be on the panels. I haven't really looked at them. They're in this box under the seat, so I need to get that out of the way. Oh, and I also ordered a roll of this waterproof paper. So I'm going to replace that. I'll just use these as patterns to cut new ones out. And of course I got to put all the holes in the door panels, like, you know, for the window cranks and whatnot. So that'll be a joy, you know, making sure I get all that correct. But, well, I'm going to get started anyway. So to get these cat whiskers off, got to straighten these staples out. And they're not really staples, they're pretty stiff wires. And I usually get them started out with a screwdriver and then straighten them up with needle nose pliers so I can pull this trim straight off. These holes were pre-drilled, and then you'll see when I put it together how I put them on. But I'm just going to go around and get all these off. So that's how I open them up to start with. And now let me get my needle nosers, and I'll get in here and straighten them up the best I can. I'm not looking at my viewfinder, so I have no idea what I'm videoing. Hopefully I'm videoing this, but might need a bigger screwdriver and straighten them out a little bit more. But let me just horse with these and I'll show you when I get a couple off. Now you can see how I straighten them out. So they'll pull out now, and then just take the screwdriver and gently see if I can pry it out. See, I'm not reusing it. There we go. If I was reusing it, I'd be much more careful prying. The cat whisker I'm talking about, if I was reusing that. You don't want to bend your metal panel, that's for sure, because it'll show up. Just like as if you didn't do body work properly and painted it. There we go. And then this will just peel off. See how it has like a foam? Looks like the paper even on there. So let me, yeah, I'm gonna have to clean up. This is gonna be a mess. All right, I got to get this rivet out right here for this button. So I got to drill that. Just gonna drill the head off. You know, drill this part off. All right, let me get that off. I used a drill bit big enough to where when I drilled that part off, I didn't drill through this, just enough to where it was peened over from riveted to where that fell off. Now I can get this the rest of the way off, and I got the new ones out, so I'm going to get them out and take a look at them. That is the way these ones look. A little different. See how this one has that stitching in it? This one just looks like the back seat material, so it's definitely different. And the door panels, I assume, are going to be the... Yeah, this has the banding. Yep. So they're not the same, but you know, what can you do? That's as close as I'm going to get. Maybe I'll stop right now and decide whether I'm going to clean these up and reuse them, or these are pretty rough, you know. I mean, they're, yeah. I'll just reuse or use the new ones. These just don't look that good, but they're definitely different. The new ones don't have that gray in them, but we won't tell anybody. I bet you 90% of the people won't know. I think you'd have to be a diehard. Yeah. Well, that's the material for this panel. But it'll look fine. I mean, it's slightly different. It's like where those ridges are here is like almost looks like a stitch in it, like a white, fine white stitch, but it's not a stitch, it's just like a print almost. I'll have to look at it, but yeah, they are different in that respect. Other than that, they're super nice. I mean, it even has the holes for the metal clips, which they kind of angled, which makes it a better. These, you know, I don't know why they didn't do that from the factory. They're less chance of ripping out of the cardboard, but this is like there for the window crank, and it's got the holes up here for the, so you can get this metal on the board straight and even. And yeah, those are drilled through. I can see the material behind them, so it's not, you know, this is drilled through, I should say. You can see now Ford had like a paper between the metal and this, and this does not. But this is like it is padded. You can totally see. Well, let me see if I can show you. There's like the padding, and this is not double layered like that. It just has this thin foam instead. See? Instead of this stuff. So I'm assuming that's gonna act as the padding. I might look online or something to see, but I'm gonna have to. This is gonna destroy this board taking this off. This is all. Every one you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 places where it's, you know, where it's hammered into this board. It's not hammered in, it's pushed in. I'll probably use my vise or my press. I'll probably won't fit in the vise. I'll probably set this in the press with something to push this onto this very carefully. And you just can't hammer that kind of stuff. You just make a mess. I just cut the paper with a razor blade and pulled it back so I could knock this. You can see where every one of those holes is. It's kind of punched out. You'll see when I get it apart, but I'm going to start trying to pry it off, and I'm going to try not to destroy the original panels. Somebody might, you know, want to be able to reuse them if they have these metal pieces from their old panels. If their old panels are really hideous, these are reusable, or they're not. They're salvageable. If you have door panels like Cold War Motors Fury, these might be a good replacement. You know, if you're doing a car up and low budget, that's totally acceptable to use. So anyway, I'm going to try not to destroy. I have a feeling it will destroy it, but I'm going to try not. I don't know, this is probably going to destroy it. I think these are pretty hard to get off without destroying them. And I don't want to bend this metal plate, which I'll have to straighten if I do. Now you're going for a ride there on my table, it's bouncing around. At least the material will be salvageable, but see how that kind of busts that up. But the material is still reusable. Somebody can make a new board. That's no big deal. I'm going to save all the old stuff, and then I got to clean this up. So now you can see those little tabs, and see how they're kind of bent over from when they're peened through. So what I got to do is, after I get all stuff out of these holes, and I'll bead blast the trim, get everything off. Then I got to straighten. All those have point straight up, nice and sharp. So they'll pound through that, and then or peen through, you know, press through that, and then those will get pushed over, and then that'll be secured tightly to the new door panel wood. So there we go. That's the only part of the old panel that I need, and I'm going to give this, like I say, a good bead blasting. And I might paint this side. I'm not going to paint the side I glue on, but I think I'll paint this side just to protect it from future rust. And you can see, so this, I'll have to peel the vinyl back slightly so I can, those are those screw holes where you can put a screw to get everything lined up. And then you push this board on after those are all straight facing up, but I'll do that after I bead blast it. And you'll see. I'll video it. This is a super important process. So the bead blaster doesn't really clean the adhesive off, so you just got to kind of scrape it off, and then I usually wipe it down with lacquer thinner when I'm done scraping it all off, or adhesive remover. And then I'm going to give it a light. This side it doesn't really matter. There's some adhesive here that I'll clean that up because I think it glues around in the same here. I'll just clean all the adhesive off, but it's important to get it all off if you want your job to last, because if the old adhesive gives out, a new adhesive on it, it's just going to come loose. So clean all your old adhesive off. Now you can see it's all cleaned up, and I'm going to straighten these up so they all point up nice and sharp. Just going to kind of, it's important that they're all straight up. You don't want them curled over, you want them, see, sometimes when you pull them up straight, this little lip edge is curled over, and you don't want that. You want them totally straight up, otherwise things won't go together right. I'm just going to show you on one how I do it. See how that's all nice and straight now? See how those are folded over? That is absolutely a must. No getting around it. And after I straighten them all up, I'm going to give this a real quick light coat of paint. I don't want, might not paint the ends here. I just want to protect this from rust. So where it might glue, I'm not going to paint. And I'm probably going to sand this with 320 before I put it together to glue it. All right, I'm going to go around and straighten all those tabs up. I got all those peeled up now, and this is an important step. So if one of these tips is kind of rolled back, it won't push through, and this will bend over, and then you'll have a space between your panel and your metal, and you'll see that when you put it on the car. So this is an important, probably the most important step, is making sure all these are nice and pointy, straight up. Like that one needs a little bit more straightening up. It's the most, I think, the most important step of doing these is making sure those are all nice and sharp, pointing straight up. If there's any, see, I can feel a little has rolled over on this one, so I gotta straighten up what's rolled over on there, and I do that by and it's hard to do holding the camera, but I just put my needle nose pliers and kind of pull, and that generally will, and I'll have to do that properly when I'm not videoing. But these staple holes, or they're not, you know, those are where these holes are. See how this has pre-bored holes in it? And then we'll look at the original one, and it looks like, to me, the only one that matches is this front one. And I'll show you how I drill these holes. I mean, you got to find them through there. And then what I'll do is I'll probably, the vinyl will be on this, glued over before this goes on the panel. And that's about how it goes. And what I do is I'll put all the little fasteners on. Comes with new fasteners, so I'll put all those through this, and then I'll poke it down to mark it, and the one that lines up I'll put through, and then that way it makes mark on the vinyl, and I can put a little prick mark with a punch or something there, and then I can drill them out. I mean, everybody might do it a little slightly different. Some people might want to run their drill bit right through the, you can see kind of one of the holes is right here and the other is right there. So you might be able to just run your drill in reverse after you get this all in place. If you run it forward, you're going to twist your vinyl up. You got to run your drill in reverse to cut through the vinyl. Then you can switch your drill to the correct way to cut through the metal. But like I say, that needs to be glued over and around, so I will do that when I get ready to do it. But anyway, I'm going to shoot a little paint light coat, just kind of everything but these ends, because it glues over on the ends. And let it dry overnight, and I'll pick up on this tomorrow. I'm just kind of, it's getting late, and I'm kind of ready to call it a day. If you like the video, definitely hit the like button. If you want to see this interior done up, subscribe to my channel by hitting that 348 engine icon that pops up there. And I really want to thank you for bearing with me and watching my video. Thank you.